Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this special figure showcase and review we're going to be looking at the 2009 Supreme Class Devastator figure. So we're going to have a good look at him. We're going to have a look at some of his components, because unfortunately although they do come off and they are separate individual vehicles, they don't actually transform into robot modes. I'm lucky enough that my electronics on mine are all still working, so I'm going to show you all the different things on that. We'll do a couple of size comparisons with some other figures and some Devastators as well. So the funny thing about this, and I'll completely own it, is I was very guilty again of purchasing this brand new in 2009 and then never really playing with it. Just I think because he came pretty much assembled in the box, I was very guilty of putting him up on a shelf, and I've got to confess I used to struggle all the time with getting him to stay up, and I've only just found this bit out. I kid you not, about 2 minutes before I just pressed record on here, that you can actually fold this bit down underneath him, and this will of course help him, he says, before he falls over, support his weight, and indeed do exactly that. You can balance him much better with that stand. Now I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not, but it's just made the rest of this video much more simple for me. Now this figure, it's still pretty big now, but for its time it was probably one of the biggest figures. It's taller than the Armada Unicron, and it's quite articulate. I say quite articulate. Again, I'm going to do my very best to try and sort of show you. So you've got all of the shoulder joint here where you can spin them around. You've got an additional joint coming here with the actual individual figure. I suppose you could say that you've got articulation in the fingers, because you can move the buckets on either hand. There is of course a bit of, if I turn this out of the way, a bit of articulation in the legs, because these will turn around as well. But I suppose the biggest letdown maybe is again just how basic the limbs are, to be honest. Now I'm looking at it more, as I say, from a perspective of reviewing it as an actual toy, as a display piece for its time. And I know they've obviously done a new Studio Series version of this. You can't argue that this has, it commands shelf presence, and indeed it's pretty accurate to the movie. But as I say, with regards to an actual toy, it's not that great. Oh, as I nearly knock everything over trying to grab this, I just want to show you, I suppose, just how basic the actual individual bots are. So you can pop this off, it's attached via there, and then of course you can see with these you pull out the treads or the tracks, and that's it. These don't move, they don't roll around at all. You can move this, as I say, the buckets up and down. And then, to be fair, if you're after one on the secondary market, keep your eye out for this, because this is always pretty much missing. It's not bad though. It is an arm, but that's, look, it's completely hollow. There's nothing else going on with it at all. It's just an arm. So as I say, for shelf presence, just for display factor, it's not too bad. But as an actual toy, yeah, you're going to want to be keeping him just in this particular mode. The other bonus was, of course, the fact that he did do this, and he has a few sayings. Let's see if I can get a few more to work. Let's see. And he hasn't said I am devastated. I was going to say, he does say a few more, and it is pretty good. There we go. That's what we're looking at. It looks good, as I say, and you can't say that it doesn't look anything like the movie. One thing as well, this part here is always, you can't even see that, the top part is going to collapse now, I bet you. What I was trying to show you is, since day one with mine, this has always been pretty loose. Now it will come all the way up, but you can see the top bit has always been pretty loose for myself. Now I suppose one of the best things about this figure is, if you were playing with it, because the mouth is so big, you can fit certain figures in. There's a deluxe Jurassic Park Jeep, you can put that in there, no problem, that'll chomp that up. So yeah, with some of the, I suppose, Scout class figures that were available at the time, you could have had a right fun time doing all that. Now I am lucky enough to still have the packaging. Let's see if I can work out how I can get it on here to show you it. There we go, it's just balanced there. So the box again is huge. I'm going to show you some size comparisons in a second. I'm definitely going to have to pan the camera back, so even though I've nearly knocked it over once, let's have a quick look at it. So it would have come, as I say, in robot mode. There it says Constructicon Devastator. On the side we've got just the things I was showing you there, the Vortex Grinder and the Mech Alive. If you want to read that, you can pause and read that now. And then on the back, Unfortunately, I got a bit of damage on the back of the box, but you can see it's all made up by all these individual vehicles, pretty much exactly the same as he was in the movie. Now, the other thing you can do as well, I probably won't do it in this video, is you can swap the arms around. You can't really swap the legs around because they are placed as feet, and if you do, it just means that you'll have them walking backwards. If you're interested in, oh, I've just knocked him over when I move the box, it's going to fall. The tech specs for him, he's there. And then finally, again, if anybody wants to read his little bio, you can pause and you can read that at your own leisure. Now, luckily enough, he's just about balancing still, so I can do some size comparisons for you. Let's bring this down a little bit. Now, for me, as everybody knows on this channel, or if you don't know, it's all about G1 for me. The Bayverse movies are okay. I've got nothing really against them. My only thing was that they just changed the appearance of them. Maybe just a little too much for my liking. For example, and I'm sure most people will actually know that is how the original Devastator looked. And funnily enough, look how small he is now compared to the actual toy. But as I said, at its time, this Supreme class was pretty much one of the biggest figures out there. But then Devastator in the Generations toy line got an update in 2014, I think it was, in the Combiner Wars. Now, you're definitely not going to be able to see this, but that Devastator only comes up to his waist. So at the time, the movie version was huge, but obviously since then we've had maybe 10, 11, maybe more Titan class figures released since then. So unfortunately, he's not one of the biggest figures, but maybe in the movie line he's still pretty big, and as I say, still looks pretty good. I'm just going to bring in a few more figures to give you an idea of this size comparison, because this is mainly just a showcase. So again, if you're like myself and you collect G1, he's much bigger than a G1 Prime. You could probably, with ease, I would think, if I can lift this up without him falling over, put a G1 Bumblebee in one of the buckets. Yeah, there you go, in his arm without him falling over. And yeah, I suppose if you don't collect any of the figures I've shown you so far, or you just collect the new, what's known as legend scale figures, I'll give you an idea of just how big he is in a second. You see what I mean? He doesn't really want to stand, so I'm going to use this bit under here just so I can bring in a few more. Now, I don't know if this is a proper stand, but it seems to me that you might as well use it as a stand, because as I say, it works. I was completely stunned with the fact that it made it balance straight away. So last couple of size comparisons for you. You can't even see him. It is still such a massive figure. So there's New Age, that is Magic Square. To be fair, these scale pretty well with them, and that is Iron Factory. So all of these are a bit smaller than deluxe figures. I know you're probably going to be scaling these with movie figures, but for a bit more fun, some of the original old Takara World's Smallest Transformers could perhaps scale with that, give you more of a sense of him being a huge Devastator, or maybe the Micromasters of today. So there's Lunar Tread. There is your, I think it's Jolt from the Hot Shot box set. That's the best thing about giant figures, having teeny little ones for them to scale with. But to be honest, there's nothing more to show or really to say about this. The basic, as I say, individual figures do have really minor transformation things. Unfortunately, none of them have robot modes. This figure is definitely all about the mode that you can see him in there. So there you go. Just thought I'd do a bit of a blast from the past. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. And of course, it's great to know how much they've improved him in the new Studio Series version as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.